The Billionaire Who Cancelled Christmas Part 2. Chapter 3, Sparks, but not the cute kind. The world drifted back into focus the way a photograph does after the camera lens slides into place, slowly, softly, with a faint click of awareness. Harper blinked awake to the warm flicker of the fireplace and the quiet hum of the storm outside. She wasn't sure how long she'd been asleep, but her cheek was printed with a suspiciously geometric pattern that suggested the armchair cushion had been holding her hostage. "Classy," she muttered, rubbing her face. She stretched her legs, rolled her shoulders, and gave the world a drowsy blink before her brain finally caught up. Wait. This wasn't a normal lobby moment. Something felt charged. A prickle crawled up her spine, the instinctive kind you get when someone is staring at you like you owe them rent. She turned her head and nearly rocketed out of the chair. Standing just several feet away, framed by firelight like a portrait someone spent a fortune composing, was a man. Tall. Immaculately dressed. Expression carved from granite. Coat still dusted with melting snowflakes that glittered under the lights. His eyes were fixed directly on her. Sharp. Cool. Very blue in the ocean during storm season sort of way. She didn't know who he was yet, but everything about him screamed authority, wealth, and someone who does not appreciate unexpected variables in his living room. He looked like the type who could fire you from a job you didn't even have. Harper jolted upright so fast her camera slid off her lap and thunked onto the rug. Sorry. Oh my gosh, I wasn't, this chair just kind of hugged me, and I guess she gestured vaguely at the air. I'm awake now. Very awake. The man did not look moved by her wakefulness. If anything, his jaw tightened like she'd personally offended the concept of wakefulness. He stepped closer, slow and deliberate, hands clasped behind his back like he was inspecting a situation he had every intention of correcting. Harper's eyes widened as realization smacked her with full force. Oh no. This is the owner. She'd seen his photo earlier in that brochure, side profile, cold mountain, expensive coat. She hadn't recognized him without the artsy lighting, but up close. There was no mistaking the aura of someone who had private jet energy in his bloodstream. He spoke, voice low and even, the kind that could slice a room in half without raising the volume. You're awake. Harper nodded. I am. Yes. I do that sometimes. Usually with less drama. He didn't crack a smile. Not even a ghost of one. He tilted his head slightly, studying her like a puzzle he didn't remember ordering. How long have you been here? He asked. I got in not too long before the storm got wild. Maybe an hour. 2. Time stopped existing somewhere between the mountain road and me nearly becoming a snow popsicle. Silence. Absolute silence. He blinked once, slowly, as if digesting the fact that she'd said snow popsicle out loud in his presence. She cleared her throat. So, hi. I'm Harper. I'm a photographer. I think we had a reservation mix-up. Maybe. Possibly. I'm actually very friendly, I promise. He didn't extend a hand. Didn't nod. Didn't even pretend to care that she promised friendliness like it was a warranty program. Instead, with the icy poise of a man who'd spent his entire life issuing orders people scrambled to follow, he said. You're not supposed to be here. Harper frowned. Well, the weather report might disagree. It's very committed to keeping me here. This resort is closed for the season, he continued, ignoring her attempt at levity. and has been since the 15th. She winced. Okay, so, yes, I did see the sign. After I checked in. Which I didn't technically do myself, because the front desk was missing the desk part of front desk. And also the front part. And the person. Nothing. He just stared. She could practically hear him thinking, why is this human talking so much? She forced a smile, the bright, customer service, please don't be mad smile she'd learned during her retail years. So. Funny story. The travel magazine booked my stay as part of a winter photo campaign. They sent confirmation and everything. And then there was the blizzard, and my car was like, nope, and here we are. His expression didn't budge. If the reservation system was opened in error, he said, that will be addressed. In error. Harper blinked. Harsh. Well, error or not, I'm here now, she said gently. And the storm seems really committed to its whole closing the world theme, so, unless your resort has teleportation as an amenity. He cut her off. It does not. A beat. Right, Harper said, swallowing. Then I'm thinking my options are pretty limited at the moment. The man's gaze flicked down to her camera on the floor. Are you currently photographing my property? The way he asked it made photographing sound like trespassing with a lens. Well, yes. Technically. But just the lobby. And the fireplace. And the tree. You know, general cozy ambience. I'm not invading anything. His eyes narrowed. You're not authorized to photograph anything here. Oh. She blinked. That's awkward because the magazine literally sent me here to photograph things. He inhaled slowly, as if deciding whether this stranger with storm-tousled hair and earnest eyes was worth the oxygen he was using. Then he said, this resort is not open for public coverage. Nothing about it is available for promotional use without my direct oversight. Oh, Harper said again. And then, because nerves made her talk too much, so, like a super private vibe. Got it? Another silence. She was starting to suspect he used silence as a weapon. He finally stated, you'll refrain from taking any more photos until I determine how to proceed. It wasn't a question. It wasn't even a request. It was a decree. Harper exhaled a breathy laugh of disbelief. Okay, but just to be clear. I'm not here trying to cause trouble. I'm literally just a photographer who got snowed in. He didn't soften. Not even a little. And I am a property owner whose closed resort was entered without authorization, he replied. Forgive me if I find this situation less charming than you seem to. Harper's eyebrows shot up. Less charming. Well. Okay. She sat up straighter in the chair, warmth from the fire disappearing fast under the cold front standing in front of her. I didn't charm my way in, she said slowly. I came because your reservation system let me. And because a magazine sent me. And because the storm nearly turned my car into modern art. His expression remained carved from ice. Her tone warmed with irritation despite herself. I didn't sneak into your secret mountain lair on purpose, okay? That earned her the tiniest, imperceptible twitch at the corner of his mouth, not amusement, more like annoyance evolving into something new. He stepped closer. Harper felt the air shift, not romantically, but electrically. Like the moment before lightning strikes an otherwise lovely picnic. I don't have a secret mountain lair, he said. I have a resort. One that is closed during this time specifically to avoid situations like this. She swallowed. Well, I didn't exactly RSVP to the situation either. For half a second, their eyes locked, her warm brown ones meeting his storm blue ones, and the tension thickened into something almost tangible. Not cute tension. Not fluttery tension. More like two flints being smashed together and both refusing to be the one to spark first. He finally straightened his coat and said, "We'll discuss this further in the morning. Daniel will arrange a room for you." "I already have a room." "You have the wrong room," he corrected. Somehow, that felt like an insult. "Right," Harper muttered. "Because naturally I messed up even in my sleep." He ignored that. "Someone will retrieve your luggage. It's really not that." And he continued, "You will remain in the designated guest area until we have resolved your status here." "My status?" she echoed. "Well, that sounds official." His eyes narrowed again, and Harper suddenly understood why staff described him as the man who could freeze water by glaring at it. He didn't glare at her exactly, but he hovered right on the edge of it, an expression that said he had a vast list of things he preferred dealing with, and she had unexpectedly ranked herself above all of them. "Good night, Miss Meadows," he said with finality. She stared at him. Okay, good night." He turned crisply and started up the stairs, coat swaying, posture perfect, aura radiating. "This entire situation is beneath my tax bracket." Harper watched him ascend, half stunned, half offended, half convinced this was the universe punking her. "You're welcome for not freezing to death on your property," she whispered to herself. Halfway up the stairs, he paused. For one dangerous, heartbeat-long moment, she thought he'd heard her. He didn't look back, though. He simply said, in a tone as neutral as marble, "We'll speak in the morning." Then he disappeared around the landing. Harper let out a breath she'd apparently been holding for 5 straight minutes. "Oh," she whispered. "Oh, he hates me." She picked up her camera, dusted off an innocent speck of ash, and sank back into the armchair with a stunned groan. The storm raged outside. The fireplace crackled inside. And Harper Meadows had just made the world's worst first impression on a man who looked like he approved everything about his environment, down to the snowflakes. This was not cute meet cuties. This was not accidental charm. This was a collision, one she absolutely did not see coming. But the strangest part. Somewhere under all the frost, she'd swear she'd glimpsed something flicker in his eyes when he first saw her. Not warmth. Not exactly curiosity. Something else. Something she couldn't name yet, but something that felt an awful lot like trouble. Chapter 4, Harper discovers his Grinch reputation. Morning arrived reluctantly, dragging light through the storm clouds like it wasn't sure it wanted to participate. The blizzard outside hadn't stopped, it had simply changed personality. Instead of violent sideways snow, the world was now buried under a thick, steady curtain of white that muffled every sound and turned the mountains into soft, ghostly shapes. Inside the resort, however, things were bustling. Not lively bustling. Not cheerful bustling. More like everyone whispering as if the building has opinions. Harper followed the smell of coffee into the staff kitchen, her hair pulled back in a messy bun, her camera hanging around her neck, and her expression somewhere between hopeful and "please let today go better than last night." She'd slept, eventually. Though sleep had included a recurring dream where Grayson Hale, the walking glacier in a tailored coat, was lecturing her about protocol violations while she tried to photograph a snowman. Not ideal. She pushed open the swinging door to the kitchen and found two staff members inside, a barista-looking young woman and a maintenance guy in a fleece jacket, both mid-conversation and mid-whisper. They froze when Harper walked in. She froze too, because nothing says confidence boost like two strangers looking at you as if you just walked into the wrong funeral. Harper said gently, lifting her hand in a half wave. Hi. The barista blinked rapidly, then plastered on a polite smile, the kind that said she wasn't sure if smiling was allowed right now. Oh. Hi. You must be Harper. She said it like Harper was a rare bird the staff had been warned not to startle. That's me, Harper said. Sorry if I'm interrupting. I was just looking for coffee before I spontaneously melt into this floor. The maintenance guy, older, kind eyes, snow still stuck in his beard, immediately grabbed a mug. No interruption. Coffee's fresh. Help yourself. Harper exhaled gratefully and reached for the pot. Silence fell. Awkward silence. Silence thick enough to spread like frosting. She could feel their eyes on her, not rude, not judgmental, nervous. Like she'd been mentioned in a staff memo and they were trying to figure out whether she was the "yay, welcome" type or the "oh, protocol breach" type. She stirred her coffee and cleared her throat lightly. So. I met your boss last night. Both staff members inhaled sharply at the same time. Just a tiny sound. But enough to confirm everything. Harper froze mid-stir. Is that bad? The barista leaned in like someone might hear her. Did he glare at you? Harper thought back. The cold stare. The sharp questions. The sense that she'd walked into a board meeting uninvited. Yes, Harper said slowly. But I think that might just be his default setting. The maintenance man nodded sympathetically. It is. The barista whispered, his, complicated. The maintenance guy whispered back, she doesn't know yet. I think we're supposed to tell her. No one told me until month 2. That was because you fainted when he caught you adjusting the thermostat. That thermostat had feelings, okay? Harper raised a hand gently, stopping the whisper spiral before it reached the point of tears. Okay, hold up. What am I missing? He's not a serial killer, right? Because if so, I'd love to know before dinner. They exchanged glances. Then the barista lowered her voice like she was about to reveal ancient lore. He doesn't celebrate Christmas. Harper waited. And waited. That's it, she said finally. He doesn't like Christmas. The maintenance guy made a face. Not doesn't like. More like, avoids it with strategic precision. The barista nodded grimly. He banned holiday music on site. What? Harper choked on her coffee. Like, all of it. All of it, the barista confirmed. Someone once hummed Jingle Bells accidentally. He appeared out of nowhere. We still don't know how he got there so fast. I swear his footsteps don't make sound, the maintenance man added. Harper blinked. Okay, but that's just, maybe he had a bad holiday season once. Everyone has a moment. They exchanged another loaded glance. The barista leaned closer. Harper, he hasn't celebrated Christmas since, well. She looked around, making sure no walls were listening. Since something happened years ago. Harper's eyebrows lifted. Like, a family thing. They nodded. And no one talks about it. They nodded harder. So he just shut Christmas down like it was a recurring software glitch. Exactly, the maintenance guy said. The barista sighed. And since then, he turns into, well, this version of himself every December. Harper thought back to the night before. The cold tone. The strict rules. The piercing stare, like she'd trespassed emotionally as well as physically. Wow, she murmured. That explains a lot. Oh, you have no idea, the barista said, shaking her head. December, Grayson, is a seasonal phenomenon. Like flu season, but with nicer suits. Harper snorted into her mug. That's surprisingly vivid. The maintenance guy added, we don't even put up the real decorations until after he leaves for New York. Harper blinked. Wait, the tree in the lobby is just the starter tree. Oh honey, the barista whispered, that tree is basically a hostage. And that did it. Harper laughed, a real one, the kind that bubbled up and warmed her chest. Oh man, she said, wiping her eye. So your boss is basically the CEO of Holiday Shutdown. Both staff members went still. The barista slapped a hand over her mouth. The maintenance guy coughed violently into his elbow. Harper's smile faltered. What? Too far? The barista whispered urgently, he's right behind me, isn't he? Harper's entire soul left her body. Slowly, painfully slowly, she turned. And there he was. Grayson Hale. Fresh suit. Perfect tie. Hair still damp from a shower. Expression unreadable in the most terrifying way. He wasn't glaring. He wasn't smiling. He was simply looking at her like he was adding a new file labeled Harper Meadows, Disruption Index, rising. Harper's mouth opened. No sound came out. Fantastic. Grayson's voice was soft, dangerously soft. CEO of, what was it? She considered lying. She considered fainting. She considered evaporating. But she went with, Holiday Shutdown. A full 3 seconds of silence passed. Harper wanted to crawl into the coffee pot and live there. Finally, Grayson exhaled through his nose and said, enjoy your breakfast, Miss Meadows. Not angry. Not amused. Unreadable. He turned and walked out, smooth, composed, terrifyingly efficient. The second he disappeared through the door, the barista sagged against the counter like a wilted houseplant. You're still alive, she whispered. That's good. Not many survive the first December joke. The maintenance man shook his head. You're bold. Bold gets remembered here. Harper sank onto a stool, face in her hands. Well, she groaned, there goes my goal of flying under the radar. The barista patted her shoulder sympathetically. Honey, you weren't under the radar the moment he saw you asleep in front of the fireplace. You basically walked into his personal December bunker. Harper let out a long, defeated exhale. So now he thinks I'm, what? Annoying. No, the maintenance guy said thoughtfully. I think he's confused by you. Great, Harper muttered. My specialty. But even as she sipped her coffee, replaying the moment Grayson overheard her joke, the heat of embarrassment simmering in her chest. A tiny whisper inside her admitted something else. It wasn't just embarrassment. It was intrigue. Because for a split second, barely long enough to trust, she'd seen something flicker in his eyes when she made that joke. Something amused. Something alive. Something he instantly smothered. Harper didn't know what that meant yet. But the storm outside wasn't the only thing intensifying. Inside the resort, tension had started to spark. Not cute sparks. Not flirty sparks. Just the messy, unpredictable kind that come from two very different people trapped on a mountain, one avoiding Christmas like a strategic sport, and one who accidentally waltzed into his perfectly controlled world and called him the CEO of Holiday Shutdown.
Thanks for listening to Billionaire Romance Stories, where love meets luxury in the most unexpected places. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. We love hearing your favorite twists and favorite theories. And don't forget to ring that bell, because in this world of yachts, secrets, and luxurious romance, the next story is always one click away.